Master, do angels and spiritual guides exist? How important are they in our spiritual evolution? Is it easier to communicate with them than with God? They do exist. They exist everywhere. It's just that our spiritual eyes are not open, so we don't see them. When we are enlightened, we can see them. Some people, who are not even deliberately doing any meditation, but have some previous experience of being blessed by another master, by chance, also see angels and spiritual guides. They will help us to a certain extent, but only God can help us all the way through. So in the beginning, the angels and the spiritual guides probably just stand by and help us a little bit through the basic requirements. Later, we will become our own master, and then God is our only guide. But the angels are around all the time. They will serve us and will be our helpers. What do you think about the angels? They're my friends. They do anything I want. They are very helpful people. The Father sends them to help me. After you are initiated, I will also ask HIRM to supply some angels for you as personal assistants, at least 5 for each of you. Is that enough? You can see them in meditation. You can request their help. Sometimes you can see them with your eyes open. Angels always help people who are good and who are helping others, who are good to others. We cannot bribe the angels. We cannot buy the angels. We can just be good, and they will come automatically by their own accord to help us. Are these angels specialized in certain tasks, or they just bless us all around? They do bless us all around whenever possible or whenever necessary also, but they are also specialized in different fields. You focus on the direct connection with God. How do you see the great cosmic hierarchy with potential mediators, such as angels, archangels, cherubims, seraphims, etc.? They are our friends. No problem. They all stand by while you are going up. I will teach you how to say hello to them and pass by them quickly. It is true that if you don't know how and if you are not introduced to them by a teacher, they might make trouble sometimes. But we will introduce you to them and tell them to take care of you. The angels are our servants. Sometimes, the higher you go, the more they worship you. Sometimes you go to a higher dimension, and all the angels, all the beings on that planet, line up to worship you. They are so happy to serve you, they call themselves your servants. Bound by the feelings of affection of the astral world, what is the situation within the astral world? Here they use affection and feelings to bind us. There is no need to use force, scolding, or iron chains. Can you understand the situation? Therefore, all human beings here are involved in affection. It could be between man and woman, or even woman and woman, or man and man. Affection is a much better tool than iron locks and chains. Most of us cannot escape when we are bound by affection. It is difficult for us to leave when we want. It takes tremendous willpower, intense penitence generated from within, or very great courage, very sincere longing to get help from the enlightened beings. Then they will give us a push so that we can transcend the astral world. If any of us are still bound by affection and have lots of love affairs, we know we are still within the astral level. Then we'd better stop boasting and try to realize that we still have not overcome the first barrier. That is why since ancient times people always respect monastic practitioners. They think they have at least gone beyond the astral level, the first gate. Like the inmates in the prison, some of them have committed very serious crimes. So they are confined in a cell so small that they can't even stand up straight. Some even more serious criminals are even bound by chains, and they can never pass through the first gate. Some inmates can go out of the first gate and join the work on the prison grounds, so they are more free. Naturally, those jailed in small cells envy them very much. In their cells, they can't even see the sun or other people. Even their relatives and friends are not allowed to visit them, not even the lawyer. They are waiting for death, their execution. Of course, they really envy the inmates who can get out of the first gate and move about freely. Similarly, We think that monastic practitioners have surpassed the level of affection and are free of these feelings, so we respect them. Otherwise, what is the difference? They cannot be regarded as monastic practitioners unless they have surpassed the level of affection. This is a kind of luck. It is very difficult to pass through the first barrier. But once we have overcome it, the other barriers are easier to surpass. Only when a prisoner has behaved well would the guards allow him to move around and join the work. After a while, observing that he is doing well in his work, they have more confidence in him. Very soon, he can go out of the second gate easily. If his behavior continues to improve, it would be easier for him to get out, not out of the prison, but to be allowed to work more and earn more confidence from the guards. He wouldn't be heavily locked up, beaten, or reprimanded. Realm of karma. Difficult to escape the law of karma. We call the second barrier the realm of karma. How does it bind us? What have the angels created for us? Even after we have passed through the first barrier, the angels have prepared a second one, so we cannot go up immediately to attack them, create trouble, make a mess of heaven, and ruin the peaceful atmosphere of the universe. Therefore, there are barriers after barriers to stop us and to let them observe us. If we could reach the heavenly kingdom right after we have conquered the first barricade, they would be in trouble. So, there is another barrier. What method do they use this time? They control us with the law of cause and effect. But how? The way is, whatever we do in this world, no matter good or bad, will yield fruit. Therefore, we must come back. If we have done bad deeds, we come back to suffer. If we have done good deeds, we come back to enjoy. While enjoying, we might do evil things by the way. The more we enjoy it, the more likely we will fall in the trap. When the situation turns bad, we suffer and become frustrated, and so are more inclined to do bad deeds. Whatever situations are deadly for us, these are the traps. We created this situation because we were bad. Previously, the deities, celestial beings, and angels felt sympathetic to our backward and painful conditions after we had been condemned to earth, so they spoke to God. Let us go there to educate them again, or at least to minimize their suffering. When God first kicked Adam and Eve down here, He's meant to let them suffer. They had to work hard to earn their daily bread. By the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread, as mentioned in the Bible. God bless them. After a very long time, as their offspring didn't commit any sin, and the evils had only been committed by their ancestors, the angels and celestial beings were sympathetic to them. Not able to stand the great suffer on earth, they beseeched God, please let us go to help them. They have been behaving well. They are only their children and grandchildren, and they are no longer malicious. The guilty ones were their ancestors. Please give them a chance. God, being merciful after all, said, okay, the angels came and taught us many magical powers and ways to improve our lives, how to make efficient machines to make our lives more comfortable and less painful. Some more advanced scientists came from above to teach us scientific technologies that were secrets of the universe. Unexpectedly, after we had learned part of it, we wanted to learn all. Before we had learned it well, our evil thoughts and greed emerged. We were proud of being able to produce many things, thinking that we were comparable to the angels. We forced them to teach us everything. The angels said, take it easy. Concentrate on doing this first and let us see how you do. The other things can only be used when you have improved in morality and wisdom. It is not the time yet. We cannot teach you the superlative magical powers of the highest realm now. However, they insisted and threatened the angels. We know how to do many things now. We can produce all kinds of weapons, and we have many magical powers. Since you refuse to give us more, we will rob you. They were like the martial arts students who went to fight with their master. Though they were only novices, they thought they were powerful enough to challenge their teachers. Naturally, the angels refused. No way. Superlative magical power and wisdom must go with great virtues. Otherwise, you will do evil things. Or you simply will not be able to use them. They wouldn't listen and decided to rob. They had all the weapons ready and then charged up to threaten the beings there. They really succeeded in reaching there, so the guards of the universe reacted. They used more forceful magical powers and weapons to destroy our weapons, and then sent our people back to where they belonged. Some of them didn't make the return trip and died there. The story was roughly like this. Since then, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas didn't trust us anymore and would not give us any more magical powers. However, the magical powers that were learned in previous lives had not been eradicated. So there are still some traces remaining in some of us. This is why some people can suddenly perform madness or magical incantations though they have not learned them. These are impressions left over from their previous lives. They include those who can make atomic bombs, black bombs, white bombs, and so on. They are all bad guys. Master and everyone laugh. After destroying our cosmic weapons, the angels locked us in here. How did they manage to lock us up? They couldn't use chains, nor could they use ordinary magical powers. Because we had learned them all. We knew how to break through and escape. Therefore, they devised a flexible way to subdue our forces, with feelings, affection, and karma. They created a system of karmic laws in which we are born and destroyed. They virtually don't have to have anything to do with us. It is truly incredible. Whether you may have done good or bad things, you must come back, reincarnate. This is really great. Since then, we have been chained until now. We can never escape. No matter how hard we try, we just can't go up. Like the main gate of a prison. You can only get out by going through it. Dig a tunnel or try anything. Sooner or later you will be captured by the police. Once you are caught, your penalty will be increased, and you will be locked up more tightly. That is why most people fail to get liberation practicing and meditating on their own. They try to dig a tunnel or make a hole in the wall. But that only leads to more serious consequences. We say they are possessed. Therefore, the law of karma is a chain, a lock, or a gate keeping us here. That is how it works. It is devised by the angels. Otherwise, how can they keep us here? Well, we used to have great magical powers. It took us just minutes to go to Jupiter, Mars, or the Sun. Equipped with powerful weapons and great magical powers, no one could stop us. We had great wisdom, but we only used it to do evil things. The human beings then were still barbarous and immoral. They wouldn't listen to moral teachings. Perhaps the angels thought that we were as benevolent as they were, so they didn't pay much attention to morality. They didn't teach people to observe the 5 precepts and get the initiation before they practiced meditation. They only taught them how to meditate. Meat eating was not prohibited, and the precepts were not observed, so people didn't develop their moral and benevolent aspects. If a person is immoral and holding a high position in the government, the greater his power is, the more harm he could do to the people. In the olden days, the angels made a mistake by neglecting to develop our morality and concentrating solely on taking care of our material aspects. They saw human beings in great pain, shedding tears and sweat the whole day long, yet didn't have enough to eat, not knowing how to use fertilizers in farming, and ignorant to most civilized things. They gained very little in whatever they did, because God had sentenced, by the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. He didn't say that we could save up something and put it in the bank. He's only said eat just enough to survive. Anyway, there were no banks then. He didn't think about it. He said it was good enough that we had enough to use. God was truly honest and clean. He's never thought about banks or loans. Master laughs. Such a system didn't exist then. So, when the celestial beings saw human beings in great pain, they cared only about the material aspects. and forgot that morality was more important. If people have no morality, they would only become worse when given many material things. They could neither cherish it, keep their wealth, nor share with other people. When they have the power and wealth, they would use it to do evil things. If you watch the television, read newspapers or books, you may find that our history was full of high officials who were corrupt. They exploited the people and stole their wealth. The higher their position was, the worse they became. Eventually, the whole government was corrupted. If those people were not high officials but poor farmers instead, they wouldn't have the chance to do so much harm. At the most, they could only do minor things like cheating their neighbor out of a piece of land or earning more money from people through dishonest transactions. Since they were officers, they could deceive many people. The higher their rank was, the more people they could intimidate. Therefore, it is very dangerous to have a high official who lacks morality. Similarly, no one taught our ancestors about ethics. The angels were so benign, merciful, and virtuous themselves, so they never thought that we lacked ethics. There must be a reason for God to condemn us to earth. The lack of morality was precisely the reason. Otherwise, we would be eligible to live in heaven. We came here because of our flawed quality, just like a student who has to stay behind for another year. Observing we were short of material things, the angels took pity on us and quickly gave us help. Just like when we go to give relief to the disaster victims. When we went to help the victims in the Philippines, we also gave priority to material supplies because we worried that they might starve. Therefore, when we went to the Philippines, Olac or mainland China to ease the disastrous situations, we seldom talked about other things. I only reminded them, our material help rendered to them is only temporary. At least take care of their soul, and teach them to pray inwardly to God for help, so that they can be liberated from suffering forever. Furthermore, advise them to be a good person, and try to be a vegetarian, and so on. Introduce some teachings to them to help them to understand. Otherwise, they would think that it was good enough just to take along rice, food, and money. It might be good for a couple of months, but only to sustain the physical body. We might have the body today, but it may lose it tomorrow. It cannot be saved permanently. When we help people, it is really not important to take care of their body, because it is ephemeral. It may be lost in a traffic accident tomorrow, or in an earthquake, or washed away by a flood. There is nothing we should be proud about in doing the relief activities. It is really nothing to help sustaining their physical bodies for a couple of months. If these people died later, they would still suffer the same painful things when they come back. If they managed to escape the flood here, they could run into a huge fire in another place. Or they would be born again and then run into a fire disaster. Nothing is for sure. So we took the opportunity to tell them about the way to liberation, advise them to become a vegetarian, or to sincerely repent and pray to God for help. Then perhaps they will meet an enlightened master when they come back next life. This is the genuine disaster relief. Otherwise, we may have saved them this time. Yet they might soon meet another disaster. Who can guarantee there won't be any more floods, earthquakes, or volcanic eruptions? That was the first time for the angels to get in touch with humans. So they didn't give it thorough enough thought. Previously, when our monastic disciples went to render relief, they also didn't think things through thoroughly. God also doesn't think too much about it because He is enjoying grape wine and delicacies in heaven. If human beings are in great pain, it is their business. God doesn't suffer, so He doesn't know. That is why you may notice some wealthy people who are apathetic to the poor. They are not particularly vicious or stingy, but they don't know what sufferings the poor have that need their help. Being healthy ourselves, we cannot discern the pain of people who are ill. It is just like what people say, we cannot realize the painful intent of parents without ourselves giving birth to babies. This is very true. I also have the same experience. Only when I am ill will I think about the pain of ill people. Therefore, when I am ill, I won't pray for my own recovery, because I fear I might forget the pain of the ill people when I have recovered. So I just let it be, and I won't pray. When I do pray, I would ask God if it is possible. Let me fall ill for other people, if only my illness or suffering could be exchanged to give them happiness. After the angels taught us some magical powers, the viciousness and brutality within us emerged, and it was too late to restrain them. We didn't develop our morality at the same time. They only taught us magical powers, but not the ethics. So it was too late then. We already got the magical powers and power, and it was too late to train our morality. Therefore, the angels had to use these methods to bind us. You may ask me, the first barrier is feelings of affection, and the second barrier is karma. That should be sufficient. But then why is the third barrier necessary? And what is the fourth realm for? It is for safety's sake. Observe the prisoners in a prison. They are chained, and there are many gates inside reinforced by barbed wire and an outer wall guarded by many police officers. They also have a system that can stop escapees immediately, like the electric fence, for instance. When someone climbs it, he is shocked and fall down. There is no need to catch him. They also have radar and alarms. If someone crawls out, the alarm screams, letting the whole world know. No exit from the three realms before the ego is eliminated. Similarly, people on earth are already in great pain for being shut behind two gates and not being able to escape. Yet they still put up a third gate. What is the third gate for? It's in case a person is very clever and knows that bad deeds will lead to bad retribution, and good deeds will also lead to good retribution. What if he didn't do any good or bad deeds, and so enters the third realm? If there wasn't another wall in the third realm, he would have gone straight to the heavenly kingdom. Though he didn't do any good or bad things, it didn't mean that he was benevolent. Perhaps he had conceived a very good plan, as he knew that he would be bound by whatever he did. He decided not to have any feelings of affection. We can always wait until we get up there. There are beautiful celestial ladies above, so why be confined here? From today, we decide not to have feelings of affection among ourselves. Refrain from doing any good or bad things, and see if we can go out or not. We still couldn't get out, because the angels had thought of it. They are smarter than us. Perhaps they were afraid of us, because we were really terrific. So, there is a third barrier after the second one. How does the third barrier stop us? We have no feelings of affection, and we have not done any good or bad things. Then what else can confine or control us? Do you remember what is the characteristic of the third realm? It is the power of creation. The Brahma is the creator within the three realms. The so-called creator that we know is only within the three realms. The creator recognized by most of us is this Brahma. How can the angels bind us while giving us this power of the creator at the same time? It is because though we have reached that level, we still have the ego. We still remind ourselves not to do good or bad things. Since we have the power, intelligence, and will to control ourselves, we still have the ego. If we have the magical power to create something, we'll be even more arrogant. Although this arrogance is a nobler one, it is still arrogance. Well, I am great. Now I can write poems, play the piano, paint, and do anything. Many of my abilities have emerged. Consequently, we become more arrogant. As we are still within the three realms, we cannot control the ego. We have not trained our morality. Suppress the ego every day and learn to be humble. So, the more we have achieved or created, the greater is our arrogance. That is how we are stuck there. Or, we will be very proud if we have become wiser or more fluent in debating. I am better than he, as he lost the debate to me. I am a graduate, he is not. I can do this while he can't, just for example, or I am remorseful, he is not. People say that Master loves people who are remorseful. You see, I am remorseful. I am really great. Can you imagine that even repentance can lead to arrogance? Anything that we can create can make us feel proud. Therefore, it is extremely difficult for us to transcend the third realm. Everyone just keeps transmigrating within the three realms, thinking that they are supreme and very great. People who are humble would say, well, I am very humble. I am humbler than he. Who is humbler than I? People who are close to Master would think that they are great. Master trusts me. There must be something special about me. Those who cannot get close to Master would console themselves. Those people close to Master are demons. I am not seriously ill, so Master doesn't call me to her side. Master and everyone laugh. The angels were really ingenious. I truly admire them. This is the only way to control human beings. Because we are extremely clever, aren't we? We can make anything. We can go to the bottom of the sea, traverse outer space, and land on Mars. We have not even spared the moon. Only the sun is too hot. Master and everyone laugh, so we don't dare to get too close. Otherwise, the sun would soon be trembling. It fears that we might go and rob its heat energy and leave it frozen to death. We have already started to steal its heat, haven't we? 8. Solar energy. We are making this and conceiving that. The sun is beginning to shiver. Well, it is horrible. Who can stop us? We even massacre our own kind, so who can intimidate us? People of this country are killing those in another country. This person is killing that person. It is an atmosphere of struggling for life and death. Fighting is going on every day. We don't even have sympathy on our own kind. Who else would we be afraid of? The angels are invisible to us. And they also have no relationship with us, so we just steal from them if we could. The system within the three realms that confines us here is truly incredible, and is more powerful than any magical powers that we have learned. Otherwise, with the magical power that we had learned then, we could break through 30 realms, not to mention only 3. Previously, we could tear open the defensive layer of the planets and go up. Originally, each planet had its defense shield. People couldn't break through if they didn't know the method. The angels were so stupid that they taught us how to dissolve the magnetic field. Subsequently, we managed to break through. Otherwise, we could never do it. It is just like each nation has its frontier guarded by the customs and police officers. Only when you have a visa will they allow you to enter and live there for a limited period of time. Originally, they didn't mean to strike our Earth so forcefully. As they wanted to destroy our powerful weapons, they had to use very great force. Not only our Earth was affected, several planets close to us or on the same orbit as us were influenced by the blow. Consequently, the plants on some planets completely vanished. No humans could live there, and the soil became unfit for agriculture. It became very dangerous on these planets because there was no air or protective atmosphere. Humans would die if they lived there, so they dug holes and lived underground. Even the trees and flowers were moved underground. Houses were also built there with a protective shield above them. If they wanted to go out, they had to open the gate quickly and rush into the UFO. When they came back, they again rushed down from the UFO. They could not expose themselves to the air, or they would be killed. The atmosphere was so highly toxic that it was lethal to both plants and humans. For instance, we know that some gases are poisonous and lethal. We will get ourselves killed if we are careless. Those planets affected by the blow produced a toxic atmosphere that was lethal to life forms. Of course, the situation would improve after several thousand years, but not recover fully. Therefore, we cannot say that when we alone or our planet has done something, we are the only ones to bear the consequences. Sometimes other people are also affected. At that time, we went up to attack several planets, and naturally they retaliated. Though the Buddhas told them not to do it, that was their natural reaction. As a result, they also incurred karma that they had to repay later. This was really troublesome. The fourth realm, a safety zone shielding the pure, and finally, there is the fourth realm, the last safety zone. It is similar to the prison that we put the prisoners in. Though they might have gained more freedom, learned to be smarter, and look better outwardly, we cannot let them loose on the streets because they are still prisoners. They have not paid for their crimes or served their term. Having too much freedom may make them feel restless and act rebelliously. So, we still need an outer wall. They are free to pass through several gates without the guards interfering. But they must go back to sleep in their cells at night to keep them from doing bad things. They are not sure what they are thinking of inside. They only look good on the outside. But we cannot read their minds. That is why the wall is necessary. Similarly, we have supposedly become very benevolent when we have reached the third realm. For instance, we are not bound by any feelings of affection. We can control ourselves. We have wisdom, eloquence in speech, and the power of the Creator. However, no one knows whether or not we are virtuous within, and have reached the egoless state. So, we are not allowed to go up at will. What if we learn some reckless things and then come back to hurt people? We might even attack the angels like what we did before. Therefore, it is not safe enough to have only 3 barriers. We will regain our freedom at the fourth realm. We are more free since we have no karma and we have power and wisdom. However, our inner soul is still under observation. Therefore, the higher we go, the more trials we will encounter. Sigh. The gods, Buddhas dare not trust us anymore. What if we attack their thrones with guns and knives? We might threaten the Kuan Yin Bodhisattva or demand Shakyamuni Buddha to surrender. Quickly summon all your disciples, master and everyone laugh, and tell them to obey our orders. Seeing that Shakyamuni Buddha was being held hostage, they wouldn't dare to do anything. And all the angels would surrender. Can you imagine what kind of situations could happen? That is why the fourth realm is so vast and dark, so long and difficult to pass through. It is the last protective zone of the superior worlds. When we reach the third realm, we are already something. We have magical powers, are clever, able to invent things, and free from the bondage of feelings of affection. Wow, we have strong willpower and incredible power. If we go up to plunder their world, the Buddhas would be in great trouble. It would be too late to stop us. Therefore, the fourth realm is the most difficult to pass through. Without an enlightened master as guarantor, we can never make it. We are allowed to roam about freely in the third or even the fourth realm. We can stay there. We can fly around freely and enjoy the light of 16,000 suns, but that is all, nothing more. We can go anywhere except upwards. The hidden passage will not appear to you unless you have an enlightened master guiding you. It is like a secret door that requires a secret code to open. Only 1 or 2 persons know it, just like a national defense secret. Some buttons or secret codes are known only to a limited number of people in the Defense Department. No one else knows, because they fear it will be found out by enemy spies, then they will be in trouble. Now you know what the 4 realms are for. Isn't it a very logical system? It is nothing mysterious. You don't have to guess blindly or doubt my words. Classes of angels. There are many classes of angels, like a class B class, C class, D class. The D class don't have wings, don't have much power. They can just hang around and trying to whisper into your ears to do good things, but they don't have much power, so you don't change too much. They're trying to do their job so that they can upgrade themselves. And the angels who are A class, they're top, of course they're top. Most initiates have some angels at the time of initiation. If you don't even have any angels before, you will have 5 angels assigned to you. 5 because of 5 precepts. And if you keep 1 precept, you will continue to have that angel with you. If you keep 5, then you'll have 5 angels. But not all initiates has A class. Mostly have only C or D class. Because the merit is very thin, that's why. Q. Master. If someone did not have the A-class, would there be anything they could do to get more A-class angels, or to have more A-class angels in the world to do good work? Some A-class angels mostly are for masters and some high souls. Exceptional high souls. These angels, they're almost like gods and goddesses, very powerful and very, very benevolent. If you don't have merit enough, you cannot ask them to help you. That's not their job. That's the job of the lower angels. To change human morals, to whisper inaudibly to make people do good things. All these are just like D class, C class, or sometimes B class but not A class. A class, they do different things. In the astral world, there are many empty bags. If we are not careful, after we die, we will fall into one. Once we fall into it, we cannot control it. That's why we hear of ghosts floating here and there. They cannot stay in one place. They float where the wind blows. If there is no wind, they will stop there. They cannot eat and have no place to live. They cannot talk and cannot just go where they want to. They are not free. It is all because they are caught in this so-called astral bag. It is like a kind of plastic bag. On our Earth planet, there is a kind of hydrogen balloon. It floats in the air and there is a big bucket under it for people to sit in. If we are thrown into that astral bag, it is the same as being thrown into the bucket in that hydrogen balloon. We cannot find a way to control it. That's why we say ghosts are very miserable. It is all because while we are still in this world and we still have this opportunity to control it, we don't control it. We don't make use of our precious time in this human world to organize our future life, so when we leave we are frightened by bad karma, retribution, and we are terrified by other ghosts. We run around with no direction. Then we fall into this human body, or we fall into an animal body, or we fall into hell, or we fall into a so-called bag in the astral world. Then we cannot find a way to control it. Only when we have a human body can we control it. We can decide our future, and we can choose where to live. It doesn't actually happen in the future. Now we can go to other places to live and then go back and forth like this. It becomes a habit. Then later on when we leave, we will know where we want to go, because we are used to going back and forth already. It is just like this. Otherwise, after we die, more than half of us will fall into the astral bag and then float here and there like that. We can live for a few hundred years, but it is meaningless and so miserable. There are many things in this world that are like traps waiting for the floating soul. This is the job of Maya. In Taoism, we refer to the so-called Maya as Yin. There is Yin and there is Yang. Now we are looking for Yang. After we pass away, the Yin has a lot of control. When we are alive, we have Yin and Yang. We can choose to take Yang and not to take Yin. After we die, Yang disappears and we don't have the choice. We can only have Yin. At that time, it will be too late. Q. How can there be war in the three heavenly realms? Fighting. Yes, fighting. Is it like the heavenly beings fighting with each other, or is it the heavenly beings fighting with the hellish beings who try to come up? Heaven and hell you were talking about is in the astral world. Astral world, there were heaven and hell, I told you already. And the hell people try to impress the heaven section. They are neighbors, and the heaven says, no, get lost. Go out, go down. They try, more territorial, and heaven defends their territory. Because in the astral world, there's no very definite order between the two different levels of the people of the astral. So most people, when they die, they go through the tunnels and they go to see the light being at the end, and beautiful beings and beautiful scenery, and these are astral heaven. But the second level and the third level heavens don't fight with each other, or don't fight with the hell. Of course they try to protect other beings, or protect their citizens. But they don't really fight per se, like the war in Iraq or whatever. Our dimension, though low, is already very beautiful. For instance, the beings in the astral level are very beautiful. Except for those who stay in the dark sphere. The dark sphere in the astral level is for people who committed suicide, died in a disaster like a car accident, and those who had a sudden and tragic death. Do you know that, without the guidance of an enlightened master, without spiritual practice and merit, those people will sink in that level having very miserable thoughts. Most people descend into the astral level after death. A person without spiritual practice goes there too. We can see him if we have the eyes to see, but we can pass throughout him as though he is not existing. Their quality is more transparent and soft, not as coarse as that of our planet. Things there seem to be formless due to a different vibration. That's all. For instance, you place a table tennis ball inside the bamboo hat, and if you spin the ball very quickly, you can't see the ball, right? We can't even touch the ball because it is spinning so fast. Since it spins so quickly, we can't feel the ball exists, though it is there. Similarly, the vibration of things in the higher dimension is much faster, so we can't feel them though they are there. The quality of this world is different from the dimension above. Things are made from the same substance but with different thickness. And that's why we can touch or cannot touch them. For example, when water turns into water vapor, water vapor, and ice are from the same substance, right? They are made from H2O. Things like water, ice, or water vapor are formed when you combine hydrogen with oxygen. They have the same quality. But we cannot catch hold of water vapor, right? And of course we can touch water and feel very clearly the coldness of a piece of ice. We have the same substance as what they have up there. But since the structure is not the same, things turn out different too. If we want to become as beautiful as the beings above, we have to practice the Kuan Yin method to change our structure to be a fairy. The vibration of the bodhisattvas is different. Gradually we will be one like them to stay in that kind of dimension. For instance, water can't rise to the sky before it turns into vapor. Right? It evaporates. And ice cannot, of course, rise up to the sky as it is very heavy. And water only flows downwards to the lowest level, never upwards. It has to turn into water vapor in order to rise upwards. Water needs enough conditions, such as baking under the sun, or boiling over a fire to vaporize. Similarly, if we human beings want to become fairies, we have to boil the power, the energy within us, then we can fly here and there like a fairy. As we become more fairy-like, we may go up there. If we wanted to live long or live forever, we could stay between the border of the astral level and the physical level, and we back and forth. Back and forth. We jump, like a border. I don't know how to explain this. There is a threshold between the astral level, which is the invisible body. After you so-called die, your physical body disintegrates, but you have another body that looks exactly like your body right now. It's just more beautiful, more useful, and doesn't grow old, and perfect condition. For example, you lost your arm, one arm here, or your nose is switched to one side like this, but after you leave this physical body, you have the same arm like before. Your nose is straight in the middle here, and your whole body is perfect, just like the day you were born. Well, some people are born with defects, but what I mean is when you were born perfect. Then when you leave the physical body and enter the astral body, your body is perfect. And you will not feel immediately the difference between your astral body and the physical body that you have left behind. Except that you saw that, hey, how come it looks like me lying in there, and who is me here? The people who do not practice the Tao, the path of enlightenment, for example Kuan Yin method, when they die, some of them get very confused, thinking maybe they are still alive, still in the physical body. That's why some ghosts, so-called ghosts, linger next to the physical body or inside the house that they used to live, trying to get back possession of whatever they have left, like in the house. So, sometimes, if somebody goes in their house and uses their stuff, they get angry. Sometimes they throw tantrums, and if they're strong enough, They even manifest themselves into a physical body for a few seconds or a few minutes, scaring the whole household, and everybody goes screaming out, "There's a ghost! There's a ghost!" Yes, that happens. Okay, that happens. Or they come back, and even though they cannot manifest into a visible body, they would make trouble. They try to throw out things in the house, or rattle the doors, or moving the chairs and breaking furniture and the bowls and the plates and all that. Or rattling the cooking pots and all that. Make a lot of noise and scare people, because they are still very confused. How come nobody hears them? How come nobody talks to them? How come his wife is already kissing somebody else? This is terrible for him. And because they don't have the physical body anymore, they are very sensitive to all the feelings of the people around them. They can travel fast from one city to the next in a few seconds or in no time at all. And for them, space and time means nothing much, so they can appear anywhere very quickly. And also, they can see everything. They can feel everything. Like, if you're crying for them, they feel very sorrowful. For example, if the husband has just died and the whole house is still crying for him, the wife or children, and all that, they're crying or even not crying. Their hearts feel broken because the husband has just died, the father has just died, and this non-practitioner's soul will hang around them and try to hug them, comfort them, and talk to them, saying, "I am still here, I am still here," but the family members cannot hear them. Well, some people hear, some family members can see them. I mean, this is rare, it's rare, but it happens. So, they are very, very frustrated and confused, so they just feel very, very sad and suffering, and they don't understand what's going on. Because they still feel like when they were still in the physical body, and they don't understand why everything's so changed. And nobody would talk to them, and nobody would even recognize they're standing nearby or hugging them. Just ignore them completely like that. For them, it is very confusing and frustrating. So most people, when they talk about immortality, they think in that way. They think, okay, I'll live forever in this physical body. But it's not always the case. We, the practitioners, if we have to go, we go. We have seen many better planets, better levels of heaven during meditation. We wish to leave this physical body and go there as soon as possible. So it's no problem to us. We're all prepared, and we will not linger on this physical planet. If we are high-level practitioners, we know there are better places to go. Some people are not yet on a high level, of course. They still are very attached to this physical planet. But the people who do not practice, when they die, they're confused like that. Spiritual has different levels, lower level and higher level. In the lower level, we have a lot of zigzag, astral world, for example. If we don't know where we are going, we get lost. Not lost by not finding the way to go, but lost in the temptations. Lost in the beauty of the astral world. Because the astral world, even though it's the lowest level of the invisible kingdom, it is still very beautiful. Attractive, charming, bewitching even. Even more so, because there is magical powers there if you attain it. They have beautiful women. The astral women are beautiful, beautiful. So for example, like that. And the houses there are nice. And everything is comfortable, and you can go anywhere instantly also. It feels so free and powerful. If we do not know anything more than the astral world, we think, that's it. That is the end of all journeys. That is the highest dimension of spiritual attainment, and then we get stuck there. We don't think of anywhere else. We don't want to know anything else. We're too busy enjoying. Every day, so much things to do, so much things to understand, to attain, to learn, to enjoy. We don't even have time to think about anything else. Here, if we want to go to coffee shop, for example, and you live a little bit farther from city, you have to drive your car, go out even in the cold, the snow, the freezing weather to go get a cup of coffee somewhere just to sit with people, be socializing and talk with friends. In the astral world, to go somewhere, no need car, no need. You just can think and you go there. Or you have some other quicker instrument. You don't need car. You don't need to take so long. It depends on that level you are, of course. So how much more attraction? And you live long. You seem to live forever up there. You don't age, you don't look old, you don't feel sick. You don't ever know sickness, for example, like that. Rarely. Even if you're sick, they use a simple method and you're healed very quickly. So how would you have any heart to search for anything higher than that? Even though in the astral world you would know that after a couple of 100 years or 1,000 years you will die, but then you still don't want to search for eternal life. Even here, we know maximum we live about 100 something years. We still don't want to seek eternal life, not to talk about astral world. So, let me ask you this, which level do you think I'm in right now? Just take me, for example. D, you're in the 9th level. You are in the highest, the 9th level. So, if this planet is destroyed, will I be destroyed too? No, you won't, that's right. So it's the same with the beings on the sun. D, so they will move to other planets. So, why do they have to move? These beings are omnipresent. Why move? You're talking about the soul, not the physical body. When our soul reaches the 4th or the 5th level, we can live anywhere. For example, some beings of the 4th and the 5th levels come to the earth because they want to help people in the earth. When they are gone, they'll go back to the 4th and 5th levels. They won't be destroyed even when their bodies are destroyed. Even if the entire planet is destroyed, these beings won't be destroyed. Their Tathagatas meaning omnipresent. They are the same wherever they are. For example, you are at the 5th level and you see all the suffering in this world. So you transform into this physical body, or you transmigrate into this world to use this physical body to help other physical beings. Your inner soul belongs to the 4th or the 5th level. Your worldly body is like everyone else's, but even if your physical body is destroyed, you won't be destroyed. That's why it's said that the earth's Bodhisattva is very happy living in hell. But other beings in hell are in a lot of pain. Wherever he goes, he brings heaven with him. He carries it in his pocket. Thus, heaven and hell are not just places. They are our spiritual attainment, or the level of our spiritual practice. Since we have already come to this world, why should we wait to get back to heaven? We should just try our best to change this world into heaven. Why should we wait to go to heaven? Every day while you're meditating, you're in heaven, just like coming here. Heaven is just like this. Heaven is within a saint. The beings of the 4th and the 5th levels live in the sun because they want to help the planets around it and help this earth. Without the sun, many things can't grow. People will be miserable because the world will be always as dark as night. At night, don't we wait to get up at dawn? We feel so happy. We do like to sleep. But we also wait for the sun to come out so we can move around and feel happy. We feel so good to see sun. That's why in wintertime, we feel more depressed. In summertime, everyone is very happy. Like we are coming alive. It's because of the sun. Those beings live there to bless us, to help us, and to make us happy. In case the sun is destroyed, they won't be destroyed. They don't have physical bodies. We have a physical body, so we can be destroyed, but they don't have a physical body. Their bodies can't be destroyed. Otherwise, how could they endure temperatures of thousands of degrees there? No one could stay on the sun, not even for a split second, because it's too hot. Let me tell you a secret. A very special secret that nobody has probably ever told you. If a person, good at heart, does no harm to no one. Not necessary that he does good to anyone, but just does no harm. And if he follows a vegan diet, even starting from old age, I don't care when, and if every day he just looks up to the sun and asks for blessing, asks for upliftment spiritually, he will attain a very high spiritual level, possibly the 5th level even. If a person is not a vegan and still looks in the sun and asks for blessing, asks for upliftment spiritually, then he gets only 3rd level. I'm sorry to say that. That's a big difference. That's 2 levels difference. It's not just 2 levels different. It's just that the 5th level is the ultimate of liberation for humankind who are born on this planet. And the thing is, it's not that the sun discriminates between what you eat. The sun doesn't really care. The sun is there without judgment, just to bless people, just to make people happy, just to make things grow and to make the planet happy. But if we are vegan, that means we have less burden, and our God nature is less covered. And that's why it's easier for the sun to lift us up to the 5th level. When we are on this planet, the sun is the only one that could do this. For example, all beings are blessing us, as I have mentioned already in other lectures. All beings are blessing us, including animals, trees, rocks, mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas. But for example, if a person who is vegan sits on the beach every day and looks into the sea or bathes in the sea, maybe half an hour every day, and asks for the sea to bless him or to uplift him spiritually, then that person will attain 3rd level only. So the sun is great, great, great.